front wheel oils me.
Hey, welcome back to A Faster Me. All right, this is the CBR number 4, the Open 4-5 race. And as you can see, I'm off to a horrible start. Yeah, I raced the Open 4 race earlier this morning, and by the time I cooled down, got something to eat, tried to warm back up, I really only got like a 5-minute warm up, so I just decided that I'd warm up in the race. And yeah, unfortunately got a little bit of a bad start, but I had already planned to use the beginning of the race just to warm my legs back up. So it is what it is. Anyway, got some news like on maybe Thursday or so. Jeff, the organizer of CBR, called me and told me that I had been disqualified from the Open Cat 4 race for going outside of the cones on the last lap to avoid a crash. Which is no big deal. You know, they told us before the race, if you go outside of the cones that for any reason you'll be disqualified. So I'm fine with that, I avoided the crash in turn 3, and, about 8 or 10 of us or so went outside the cones to avoid the crash. And I basically just sat up after that because people were going by, and it took me a little time to get back in because of just trying to find a safe way to enter back into the race. And when I did, I just shut it down. I just cruised in, ended up coming in like 39th place. So no big deal. I don't care that I was disqualified from it. It is what it is. But the thing I didn't like is that whoever filed the complaint, they also tried to get my teammates disqualified, which made no sense to me whatsoever because my teammates were nowhere near me whatsoever. They weren't near the incident. They didn't go outside the cones, none of that stuff. My teammates for that race were Jack O and Marlena Bemis, and Jack was way up in the front, and he came in 5th place. Everybody knows Jack. He's been winning a lot of the races. He had nothing to do with the incident whatsoever. And Marlena was way off the back. She had just not liked all the sketchiness going on in the race, so she just kind of hung in the back and was nowhere near the incident at all. Even though she came in 40th right behind me, she actually wasn't right behind me. They were like 30 seconds back. She was even behind the first crash that happened in turn 2, so which was the video you saw on my race video. That was her video from behind the crash in turn 2. So yeah, she was nowhere near me whatsoever. So anyway, that's just a little bummed. Like, I don't think somebody should be able to file a complaint and try to disqualify my teammates that aren't even on the video whatsoever. So I just think there should be a little bit more investigation going on that. And if you're going to disqualify someone, you should factually be able to see who it was and their number and disqualify them, not just guess because people are wearing blue uniforms and they're thinking it's us, which our uniforms are even white this year on top there. We don't even have those same uniforms that we had in years past. So enough on that though. Like I said, I'm not complaining about me being disqualified. They said it from the beginning of the race that if you go outside the cones, you're disqualified. So that's fine. I did go outside the cones to avoid a crash, and that's just that. That's just what the rules were, and I went outside, and that's just it. So anyway, back to this race. This is the 4-5 race, and it was definitely a lot better. We got a little. We got like a little bit of safety lecture before the race because of all the crashes. And, in our defense, we weren't the only ones crashing. The 2-3 race had a bunch of crashes as well or whatever. But I think kudos to everyone in this race because we went through this race without an incident. Obviously, there's some, close calls and stuff like that. Most of that is just racing, no big deal. But it is always worth giving people like I don't know if respect is the right thing, but just giving everyone a little applause for not having any incidents because 75 plus people, in a tight, fast crit, there's always some potential for some issues. And again, that's just part of the sport. I give that analogy sometimes that it's just like being tackled in football. Like, you can't expect to play a football game without getting hit or tackled. So, that's just part of it. So anyway, we're a couple laps in now, and I'm just trying to warm up the legs. I felt pretty good. I'm still not in the type of shape that I want to be in. But it's coming around, it's getting better. I think I've been riding for about a month now consistently, so I'm definitely starting to get a little bit better fitness, and hopefully it'll show before the season's over. Hopefully I'll at least get one top 10. They seem to be elusive right now. So, but anyway, in this race I got a few teammates. I got Jack O, Tony Dang, Chris Mang, and myself. And, obviously a bunch of friends and stuff in the peloton that we always race with. But I think I have 4 teammates in this race, and we didn't really come in to race we didn't really have a game plan or anything for this race. Tony and Chris haven't raced in a little while, so they're both just getting kind of back into it. So they're out here doing their thing, and, Jack's been doing his thing. So if we're ever in a position to help Jack, we will. But other than that, we kind of let him do his thing, and we'll pick up some crumbs wherever we can get in until we get our fitness up and stuff like that. So here, like always, I'm just trying to sit in a little bit. I'm a little bit too far back, a little bit further back than I want to be. But, the race has got a decent little rhythm now, and I'm kind of settled in. The legs are warming up. So now it's just time to, pick some spots, find out where it's good to move up at, and, do what you can. This side is a good place to move up. If you go on the right side, the wind is coming off of our left right here. It's kind of like a side headwind. So it's kind of basically a headwind, but it's coming off the left side. So you're kind of protected on the right here, even though a lot of people like shooting up the left side. It's just a little bit harder effort. You can kind of shoot up the inside and do a block pass or squeeze the corner or whatever, but it is into the wind, and you do have to put a little bit more effort in going up that side. See Lance there moving up on my right, 927. Lance and I have been in these races for the last couple years, and I think we're both. I don't have the points, I don't think, to move up to Cat 3, but I'm definitely looking forward to getting into some Masters races, as soon as I can. And Lance probably has enough points to move up to Cat 3. I'm not sure or not, but I think he just wants to, pull a win off or get on the podium some more just before moving up. A lot of people move up too early, in my opinion, and obviously everyone's always telling you to move up, but I know it's wild down here in the Cat 4s and Cat 5s, but honestly the Cat 3s are not like so much better. Yes, they're stronger riders and they're faster, but they have some pretty gnarly crashes sometimes too. So shout out to Mark Walker over there on the right in Go Fast. Mark's doing a good job this year, been racing well. I just think he's improving like pretty much every weekend for the most part, every week, and just been putting the time in, the efforts, working hard, and he's been getting a lot better results than he was in the past. So just giving him a little shout out, giving credit where credit is due. So, and it's good to be in a race with him. I haven't raced with him too much, so it's good to be in the same field together. So this race is only a 30-minute race, which thank God, because I was already tired just from racing earlier today and being up all morning. Being a race director of a team, I got to get up early. I got to be there when the first racers are racing, bringing the tent, stuff like that. I have help, of course. Marlena's our race captain, and she helps out a lot as well. But just sometimes it just ends up being a long day with so many people racing, and just being a race fan in general. I like to watch all the races, and being that I coach a number of athletes that are racing, I typically like to be there when one of the athletes that I coach is racing also, and like to cheer them on, kind of answer questions for them or whatever they may have, give some advice sometimes, things like that. So it's always a long day, and today I was just kind of feeling it a little bit. I was just a little tired. I think another thing too about just people getting used to racing, half of this field raced earlier, and for the most part, almost all of the field raced earlier, either in the Cat 5 race or the Cat 4 race. So I think that's also one of the reasons why the second race is has less incidents in it, is just, people have already done it once. They're used to the circuit now. They're kind of used to where things are going to happen, and it just makes the race a little bit smoother the second time around. And being that this is a 4-5 race, we actually averaged slightly faster speed in this race than we did in the first one. And that could be for a different, for a number of reasons. It could just be because it's slightly warmer. Like I said, it could be that it's everybody's second time racing today, or a lot of people's second time racing today, whatever it is. But we averaged roughly about the same. We averaged just over 26 miles per hour. I think Lance had an issue with his gearing or something right there, and you saw him going backwards pretty fast. And it looks like he kind of was looking down at his derailleur or something, couldn't shift. But yeah, this race was just as fast as the first one, and I think, just a little bit faster. And we averaged about 26 miles per hour on both races. The other race was a 40-minute race. This is a 30-minute race. So, there's a slight difference there, but either way, the speed is the same. I think here I give Mark a shout out, just telling him to jump back into the draft, like to tuck in a little better. He's kind of drafting, but he's had a gap open right there, and you see how he closes it up right here. Mark's a bigger guy, so being that you're a bigger guy, you definitely have to stay in the draft like as much as possible. It's just, that wind resistance will attack bigger riders a little more than it will. Well, actually, it's two-part. Bigger riders typically tend to carry momentum a little more in wind, but they also get a little bit less draft because they're, taller and bigger than most people. So, yeah, smaller riders get stopped by the wind easier, but they're also easier for them to tuck into a draft behind someone and use less effort. So there's a little bit of a give and take there both ways. But for the most part, being a bigger rider, you want to stay tucked in just because there's energy leaks for you if you're up high or if you're out in the wind a little bit. And even though you carry momentum a little bit better, you still have to push that wind and use your own power, so you're kind of losing a little energy there too. So there you saw there was a little gap that opened up, and I was able to shoot up the inside, just keep my momentum and try to get to a better spot up here. I'm still not exactly where I want to be, but it's not bad because it's early in the race. And for the most part, my plan was, we're almost halfway through the race now, but for the most part, my plan was just to sit in, save a little energy, and then, of course, with about 5 laps to go, I definitely want to be in a better position and just not go backwards from that point on. And that's not always a good approach either. Honestly, if you can be in the top 20 the whole time, really the top 15, you end up saving a little bit of energy, and could be a lot more energy. It's just a little smoother up there, a little less people to fight with. And also, you have a higher chance of avoiding a lot of these incidents that happen mid-pack and beyond. Another thing too with now that it's getting a little warmer and the sun's, the days are a little bit longer, I think a lot of people are benefiting from a lot of the Crip Practices, the Eldo races, the Chino Hills Crip Practice, the Eldo races, and really the Rose Bowl Tuesday, Thursday. So I think a lot of people get a lot of Crip Practices in during the week, and it's just another way to gain some experience and get you more comfortable in pack riding, and just give you a little bit of experience of how to read the race flow a little bit better. So I definitely recommend, if you get a chance, to go out to some of those spots. I think the Chino Hills Crit or Crip Practice is Thursday nights. I do forget the time exactly. The Rose Bowl rides are Tuesday and Thursday nights at the Rose Bowl, obviously, somewhere around 5:30, 5:50. I can't remember what time it starts either. And then you have the Eldo races, which are every Tuesday night as well. So yeah, if you get a chance, check out some of those races, jump in there. Definitely, Eldo gives you some upgrade points. The other ones are just, unsanctioned practices or group rides, basically. But they definitely will give you a little leg up on the competition, on gaining experience and stuff like that. And there's a lot of, some of the pro riders, some of the P1, 2, 3 riders are there, and it's a better environment for you to maybe talk to someone and get some advice from. So here I try to move up a little bit on the inside. Don't want to use too much energy, but it's kind of a tailwind here. The only thing is I don't want to be like a complete dive bomb on the inside here. You see the Velo Kings rider. I don't know if that's Bethel or not, but comes in a little bit late, but we gave each other room and all that kind of stuff. And honestly, I don't worry about it too much. It's not that you can't come inside late. It's that most people just don't know their ability. If you can come in, handle your bike, make a smart decision, then that's fine. The problem is a lot of people come in real late and at an angle that they cannot make the turn at, and then it ends up turning into a dive bomb and there's an incident. But everything was good there, and a little communication is all we really need, and give each other room, stuff like that. Here's another situation where I'm just trying to move up, and you can see how it's a little bit of a swarm going on here, people moving up on the left and the right. So the middle kind of opened just a little bit for me to move up maybe a spot or two. Nothing too significant, but just trying to slide in there where I can and try to find like a good pocket to get into. All right, so we're definitely just right about at the little past the halfway point now. See a little pocket here that I try to slide up in. I probably should maybe try to float to one side or another, just because I don't know, for whatever reason I've been a little complacent these last couple weeks and just sitting in the middle and end up getting myself boxed in. And it's a conscious thing. It's something that I'm aware of. I know I'm doing it, but I think it's just one of those things where you're trying to get into a little bit of a riding funk and just kind of become a creature of habit and do the same thing, when you really should be focusing on being a little bit more competitive and have a little bit more urgency to me. And I'm always a thinker. You guys can tell by the way I talk on these videos. It's not that I don't know what to do, just there's always a connection between knowing what to do, doing it, and then most importantly having the ability to do it. And definitely I'm lacking the ability right now just because I'm out of shape. But sometimes it's just a little bit of laziness also, of just not working to get to the position you need to get to. And I only say laziness really because if you look at my heart rate, 172, that's like the threshold for me, so it's not like I'm gassed or anything. And when you have that type of energy, you really need to put it to work and get to a spot that you can, that's a little bit more advantageous to you. So once again, I'm in here pretty good, saving some energy, just sitting in some of these draft pockets. But overall, since we're getting later in the race, I really need to pick a side, either the inside or the outside, just somewhere where I'm not going to get boxed in, so I can make the moves that I need to move when the time make when the time comes. That's Greg in front of me from Go Fast. Greg's been having a decent year as well. I think he got fourth in Redlands. A little bit unfortunate that he ended up getting stuck on the front at Redlands and kind of got stuck in no man's land and had to kind of just keep the power on and try to last, but he ended up getting edged out off of the podium, right on the last couple corners or whatever. So I think here we're going into we may have about 5 laps to go now. This hill isn't much here, but it does get taxing after a while. This is pretty good for me here just because for whatever reason the Peloton slowed down. I almost got brake checked right there. I think the rider in front of Greg slowed down a little bit too. But I tried to shoot up the middle for a second and then kind of got a little brake check. So thought I was going to have a good spot to move up and make up some places, and end up getting shuffled back here by people swarming on the left and the right. So now we're probably back in about 40th place or so now. That turn there, turn 4, is one of the spots where, people kind of dive bomb a lot. And I think it's for a couple reasons. I talked on the last video about when it's open on the inside, everyone thinks that's an invitation, but it's really not. But I think the problem there that kind of lends to a lot of dive bombs there is that the pace gets so slow just because it's kind of uphill. And by the time we hit that corner, we're only doing 20 to 24 miles per hour. And I think just because the speed is so slow, people know that they can, do a little acceleration and move up, and then often they're kind of late getting into that corner. And I also think at this level, which again, I'm not knocking anybody, I'm at the same level, that I don't think people really understand angles as much as they may think they do, or they may not even pay attention to angles. But when we're carrying speed, I don't think they pay attention to the angle that the peloton is going to take that apex, take that corner at, compared to the angle that they're on trying to shoot up the inside. I don't think people realize how important that is, and that you really should never be like perpendicular to the peloton. You should never see the side of a rider's bike. So if you can see the side of a rider's bike, like a T-bone type situation, you're definitely hugging the inside way too much, and you're coming in at a completely different angle than the rest of the peloton. So even when you do move up, you should be doing it like this, kind of skimming right next to riders, and you really should not pull like so far to the left. As you see it, my bike is going the same direction as the other guys to my right, and there was never like a T-bone situation there. And if I have one, then I'll show you, I'll point that out as well, but I don't think I do in this race. I'm not immune to dive bombing either. Anyone can do it. It's really just a momentary lapse in judgment. Some people do it every lap, which then that tells you that they don't understand cornering. But anyone can do it at one time, because we're all competitors and a little ambitious sometimes, and sometimes we think we're better than we are, so we end up trying to shoot somewhere that our bike can't fit, or that we just don't have time, the time that we thought to make that move stick. There goes my teammate Jack shooting up the inside. Jack's wearing last year's kit on this race. But you see Jack shot up the inside. In theory, I should have went with him, or should have went with him. But, again, I didn't want to take the chance of being late and then having to take that corner, which is the fastest corner on of the circuit, at the wrong angle. So I think we're getting down now to 3, maybe 4 laps to go. See, the pace is picking up, or I shouldn't say the pace, but more like the franticness is picking up a little bit. That's just because people don't want to go backwards now. Everybody wants to either go forward or kind of hold their position. I'm in a pretty good spot here, maybe up to 10th wheel or so. And this is, of course, where I'd like to be for the last couple laps coming in. And like I said, you see we're getting down to like 21 miles per hour coming into turn number 4. And that's one of the reasons why people shoot up the inside, because like I said, the speed gets slow. And as I said that, you see there was a rider that came off the inside, 2 riders off the inside. And that's just the nature of racing. Anytime the speed slows down, you're going to get people either attacking or, taking that chance to move up front now. I was trying to shoot through that little gap there, kind of got cut off by Greg. Just a racing thing. I'm behind him, so he obviously couldn't see me. Kind of rubbed my elbow handlebar a little bit. I had talked to him after the race. He was like, "Sorry, dude." I was like, "Well, no, it's not your fault. I'm behind. You had a right to it. You beat me to that spot, and that's just what it is. That's just racing. No big deal." I do like this though. We're up to 32 miles per hour, and it's much safer when it's stretched out like this. You can see there's a couple guys trying to get off the front up there, so that's why it stretched it out, carried the speed pretty good, and got it kind of single and double file. And then all of a sudden up this hill it slows down, so that gives me a chance to shoot up here, shoot through this gap. And then I'm right on Jack's wheel. Jack's wheel is always a good place to be coming into the last couple laps. I know lately some of the other guys in the peloton have been fighting for this wheel, so, not to give away team secrets or anything, but I was kind of trying to get up here to protect his wheel a little bit, not to have one of the other guys that can sprint kind of get a lead out from him. So I'm just up here where I want to be right now. Where I've been getting lost in the last couple laps, the last couple weeks is, Jack's like a little bit more aggressive or assertive than I am right now, mainly because my fitness is low. If you look, my heart rate's at 186. I top out in the mid 90s, so I don't have too many beats left in my heart right now. But as you can see, Jack will slide through a small opening and sometimes I don't follow them, or I'm not quick enough. I don't react quick enough, stuff like that. And then right now we just got swarmed on both sides, so I go from like 6th place on Jack's wheel to now I'm down to like 15th, 16th place, maybe even 20th now, in just a matter of one straightaway. So we're still going at pretty good speed, just nothing too special, but we're still doing 30 miles per hour through here. It was much better when we came through a lap before at 32 miles per hour, but it is what it is. Here it's the same thing, just trying to get back up there, trying to get to a good spot. I see the C's are parting right here. People don't know whether to go left or right. There's Jack again. I try to get up there, but it closes. I'm just basically trying to get back to his wheel so I can try to, one, protect his wheel, and then two, just get in a good spot where I can, finish the race in a decent spot. There it is for me. It opens up. So I shoot up here real quick, trying to get to the back of Jack's wheel. I'm basically on it where I want to be. Come through this turn here. And I'm sitting pretty right here. We're a little far back though. We're definitely way too far back to be going into the last lap. The group accelerates, gets a little break on me. You can see I'm doing 500 watts and I'm kind of still losing the wheel a little bit. Heart rate's in the 190, so I'm definitely on the verge of about to blow up, and yeah, that's just where I'm at fitness-wise right now. This shouldn't be really that hard to me, but currently it is. And I'm just struggling to even hold on right here. I don't mean struggling to hold on to the pack, but I mean I'm on my limit as far as, I don't have much left in me as far as I can't go much faster right now, especially knowing that we're going to be leading to the uphill portion straight into a sprint. And I definitely got to get my heart rate down or I won't be able to contest the sprint at all. So here I just try to use as much momentum as I could, not trying to spike too much. Definitely I'm under 500 watts. Unfortunately, I come to the side where there's wind, so if I'm over here, I'm going to have to use too much power to shoot up. So I try to tuck back in and maybe think I can make up a couple spots on the next turn or whatever. Definitely way too tight in here. I do not want to be this tight because you won't be able to carry good speed. Did what I had to do for that little moment. It's not really taking that big of a chance because there was room there, but last lap you can't really afford to back off here. Yeah, and I just don't have anything left here to accelerate the way I need to get up there with the front group. Try to launch a sprint here, and I'm usually sprinting in 1,000 watts or more, and I can't even hit 700 watts here. I'm just popped. If you look at my heart, I'm at 193 already, so I didn't have anything left there. I think I come across the line in maybe 19th place or so. Let a couple people pass me right at the end there. So anyway, that's a wrap, and thanks for watching, and we'll see you at the next CBR in a couple weeks.